Hello everyone. Welcome back to Paper Mache Birds Part 2. So here are my birds. I did a little bit of the white layer last night and I'm really happy with them. They already make me very happy. So I hope you guys are making these too. This one I did with that light paper that I said I saved from the shoebox, and it was a little difficult to work with. It got so wet. It sort of fell apart a little bit as I was using it, and I didn't know whether it was going to really cover up all the newspaper because it was kind of transparent. But it actually looks great this morning, but it was a little bit rough. I mean, it was a little hard. So I also got some plain newsprint, again, things I saved from stores, wrapping things in to take home. And this worked a little bit better, but it's a little bit slightly different color. I'm not going to go through the whole thing of paper macheing the whole thing because we did that yesterday. So again, I just heated up my paper mache that was in the refrigerator for 30 seconds. And of course I would just continue with the whole white layer, massaging, smoothing. I found it also easiest to have the bird on one side and then sort of do everything I could see on that side and then flip it over. That seemed like it worked really well. Now, what I wanted to show you today was a couple different ways that we get to decorate these. And one of them is painting, and one of them is using paper again, pretty much like a paper mache process. So you could use your paper mache paste that we already have to use to put other papers, colored papers on, or sometimes I use a combination of white glue and water, so about half white glue, half water, and it's a little bit less messy. You don't have to get your hands in it. So I'm going to show you both techniques. So first of all, on the one that's pretty much done, I will show you the painting method. And that is the best paints to use really would be acrylic, but you may not have that at home. But this bird is going to maybe be handled, and a water-soluble paint like watercolor or tempera might not work quite as well. And this, you would just paint this any way you want. So you could at this point paint feathers on, and here you could look at bird photographs to see there's the upper ridge of feathers on their wings, and then there's another one below that. You could paint it all one color first and then paint other decorations on top. The reason that we do the white layer is that it makes it much easier to have the paint not have to cover up all of the newspaper too. So to have a white surface really helps. All right, so that's one way that you can do this. And of course you don't have to paint it like a bird. You could paint it fantastical colors or with really cool designs. This is something that you really want to have fun with. All right, and another way to do this, well, let's see, I'll maybe show a little bit more paint. This might be good for details. Say that you do use the paper first, and then you could use this for maybe details like eyes, maybe the beak. But if you wanted to continue doing paper mache, you could with colored papers. And again, slightly thicker papers are a little harder to use. But you can use magazine papers, anything that you would do collage with. Tissue paper works pretty well, but if you've tried using tissue paper already, you can see that it's pretty thin. It's a little hard to work with, but I'll show you in a second. So in this way, you can do the colors on your bird. I'm trying to keep the painted side down on the plastic while I do this. So this is actually pretty fun, and there's something very luminous about the paper when you get finished when you do this because of the white surface that you're working on. So you can go that way, or if you want to, here's my mixture of 50% glue and 50% water. So this might be this might work well to use for if you're using tissue paper. So you can just paint it down on the bird and then put your tissue paper down and do another layer on top. And these thin papers really fold very nicely around curves and things. Oops, there I just tore the paper a little bit. So you want to maybe be gentle with that method. All right, then you can also use thicker papers. So I cut these out already to be sort of tail feathers. And have these go down like this. This one also, if you're using thicker papers, again, it takes a little while for them to stick, so you might have to be a little bit more careful when you do this, because if you bump them, they might fall off until things start to dry. And the last thing I want to try is to use watercolor in case you guys don't have acrylic at home. Pretty sure that will work. Here, I'll move this out of the way so we can see this a little better. And some of you might want to plan out a little bit what your colors are going to be, but this could also be like a collage process where you sort of figure it out as you go along. And sometimes when you get closer to the end, you can tell what colors you want to use. Okay, and if these don't stick right away, you can always add a little bit of glue under there later if they start to peel up. But they should work. It should work. All right, watercolor. Let's see how this goes. I'll get another paintbrush. Now, while you do all this, your bird is going to get kind of wet again, but it should all dry and become nice and stiff after you finish. Yeah, I think the watercolor works really well. Here I am mixing it a little bit with that paint I already put down. So, looks like the watercolor will be fine. So you might even want to do a base color of watercolor over the whole thing, and then you could add details of paper on top of that. This will probably stick to the wet paint, and then I might want to go over that again with a layer of the white glue after it dries a little bit, after the paint dries, otherwise I'm going to start smearing the paint around. Okay, so I think that's going to give you enough to work on. I really can't wait to see these when you're all done. I will work on mine a little bit and I will show you when it's finished. I think that that's going to give you enough to do for the next day, so I probably will not post a video tomorrow. So we'll say Wednesday's off, and then on Thursday I'm going to show you how to make a mask, and then we can make the mask, and then technically it's going to be spring break, so we might come back and finish decorating the mask after that. Again, email me with any questions. It is Kaylin@kaylinmeyer.com, and I hope to hear from you. Have fun!